Hello everyone, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank, and today we're going to talk about Justice League issue 4. So, we pick up where we left off relatively, but first with a little glimpse into Gorilla Grodd's past, his little chimphood, one would say, or gorilla infancy, whatever. So Gorilla Grodd was the smallest, the weakest, the most pathetic and disappointing of the gorilla children, to the point where his father just didn't like him. But secretly, Grodd possessed his telepathic powers, and he'd been sort of practicing them on a human, making him dance until effectively the bone was able to be seen through his feet. And then we come back to the present day at the Totality, with Superman and Martian Manhunter fighting the giants from the Source Wall. And then we pick up really where we left off last issue with Hawkgirl versus Joker. Joker knocks her out. It's not a long fight, which made sense because we're in a really confined place, and you can't really predict the Joker, and all the Joker did was just knock her out. Batman hears Joker laughing through the radio, and he wants to find something to do, but he's shot down by Lex, and Batman's barely able to eject out before, the ship goes up. Then we cut to John Stewart, Cyborg, and Sinestro, and John's ready to lock and load and to kill Sinestro, and Sinestro effectively uses the ultraviolet light and John's issues, which is what the ultraviolet energy does, to destroy John's ring and infuse him with more of the ultraviolet energy, which makes the transformation permanent. According to Sinestro, John will never be a Green Lantern or any other Lantern again except the ultraviolet core. And Cyborg's just able to get him and John away. And then we cut to Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and the Flash, who are busy fighting the White Martian Amazon Atlantean hybrid before they're interrupted by Gorilla Grodd, who has a little baby, which I called it was the turtle, which wasn't that big of a call. And Grodd uses his mind powers to make Diana and Aquaman fight each other, thinking that each of them is Black Manta / Cheetah. Cutting back to Superman and Martian Manhunter fighting the giant statues. Superman finally gets John to tell him what's been bothering him, which we didn't quite know because we never saw what Vandal Savage really showed him. So, for a while, John had been looking into what exactly caused the death of the Martian homeworld, what caused the death of Mars, and he then went to the Keeper of Martian history, a Martian known as the Keep, who was on Thanagar, and what the Keep said was that what destroyed Mars was a telepathic plague that took the form of what the people worship. In their case, it was fire. That's what destroyed Mars. But when the Source Wall broke and the Totality arose, Vandal Savage sent a vision to Jean about a Martian shout of prophecy that would effectively bring the doom of the Martian people. And Jean at first didn't think it was real, thought it was a lie, but when he connected with what was on the other side of the Source Wall, he got the same vision again, and he's sort of wondering if this was all his fault, if this was all designed by the Martians or whatever. And that's when Superman reveals that he's not Superman, he's Lex Luthor. Bum. And then Joker is then able to take over Martian Manhunter's brain, and as Sinestro uses his clothes to channel the ultraviolet energy from the Umbrax galaxy into ours, he's then able to recruit more and more people to the ultraviolet core, and the more people that come through, or the more people he recruits, brings that energy out, and then there'll be no stopping it. And the comic ends with the now Jokerized Martian Manhunter and the Lexized Superman entering the Totality in its full. So that was Justice League issue 4, and honestly, this was really great. I love when a lot's happening, but it's not so much that I feel like I'm reading a huge wall of text. A lot of stuff is happening at once. The art, I think, is really great here again. And it's nice to see Grodd. I don't get a lot of Grodd. I've been meaning to read the Flash story with Grodd, but I've never really been super set on it. It's like on the back burner every time. Sinestro is always a joy to see. If you haven't read his solo book written by Cullen Bunn, I suggest you pick that up. You're doing yourself a disservice, and him, I think, if you haven't read that one yet. Everyone felt a bit used here except Aquaman, and to an extent Diana. I think it's also because in the grand scheme of things, their villains are just sort of their villains. You never really hear a moment where Grodd hasn't been a problem for everyone. But you never really hear a moment where, oh no, Superman has to deal with Cheetah, Flash has to deal with Black Manta. No. They're sort of very personalized villains, and they're not as captivating as the Joker. And I think that is something that needs to change for these villains. I think they do need someone to do to them what writers have done for the Joker with time, or just with Sinestro. Like a Cheetah book, with only if it only needs to be like 2 or 3 issues, I think would do her good. And Black Manta is only interesting to people who generally like Aquaman. Overall, this was a really great issue, and I look forward to the rest. So with that in mind, we'll bring this video to a close here. If you're new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you read this issue, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll catch you all later. This is the Bucket Think Tank signing off. May your fandom serve you well.